You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Black folks in America have a lowest home ownership rate at 47%. White Americans, 76%. Now, well, obviously, we could talk about student loan debt. We could talk about redlining and all those different things. But also, a lot of this is just the notion of you don't know what you don't know. So over the weekend, John Hope Bryant, founder of Operation Hope, sent out a couple of tweets. It was to talk about this very issue. And I responded, and I talked about what's good debt. And then that led to a bunch of people commenting and weighing in and saying, oh, that's not right. Even if you buy a home, you don't really own the home. The bank owns the home. Some people call home ownership a racket. It was all this different stuff. And so I said, you know what? Let's actually have the conversation on the show where we can talk about it and we can really walk folks through this. So joining us right now is John Hope Bryant, founder of Operation Hope. He's been on the show numerous times. John, always glad to have you back.
Welcome back to Atlanta, my friend, the moral capital of America.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this, John, because I remember a few years ago, I got into this vigorous debate about student loan debt. Now, granted, I graduated December 1991. Tuition was a lot different then than it is now. But I made the point to folks that I saw my student loan debt as good debt. Why was that? Because that college degree put me in a position for the jobs that I've had. And if I added up the income that I have earned over the last 30 years since graduating, that's a significant amount of money. So if I compare that money to what my student loan debt was, I said that was good debt. I said, now, if I went out and got a $50,000 car right after I graduated, I said, that's bad debt. And I had this back and forth, and somebody was like, well, yeah, but what if you had no debt at all? I said, look, I couldn't have no debt conversation. Mom and daddy didn't have the money. It's not like I had the money as well. I didn't have a full ride scholarship. So I said, and look, Congress hasn't passed free college, so that hasn't happened. So I said, but we do have to look at debt a different way. And you really were trying to help some folks with this this weekend to understand the reality of home ownership and what the home means.
Yeah. By the way, if there's going to be a serious discussion about reparations in this country, it probably should be K through college education for every Black person in America. As long as they do something gainful and positive with that education, it gets written off as an investment. But that's a separate topic, separate show. I was stunned, Roland, when it was 1 a.m, and I sent out a tweet that I thought was a non-issue, right? No big deal. I sent out this tweet that that white Americans have half of white America has a mortgage as debt, and 1 in 5 Black Americans have mortgage as debt, and that we need more good debt. And man, Twitter just lit up. And I couldn't figure out why. Like, what's the complication here? It makes no sense that we're having this conversation, particularly this part. Wait a minute. We don't own the home. The bank owns the home. No, actually, that's not true. It's just not true. The bank has a mortgage on your home. The bank does not participate in the uplift, the upside on your appreciation. They don't get the depreciation, which you write off your taxes. They don't get the appreciation, which is the equity between what you owe and what the house is worth now and what it is worth in the future. In fact, I'll go one step further. So that's good debt. And in fact, the tax policy on home ownership is brilliant. Like, if you rent from me, and as you know, in my private commercial life, I'm the largest minority-controlled owner of single-family rental homes in America, the Promise Homes Company. If you rent from me, you're paying off my mortgages. All good. And I think I'm providing a good service as an affordable housing owner. But I really want you to become an owner and not be paying off my debt. I want you to have your own mortgage debt that you pay off, and you write off in every payment you make. You're writing that off of your taxes. You get that money back. So you're getting the benefit of depreciation. You're getting the benefit of appreciation. The house gains in value. By the way, Roland, you mentioned an auto loan. A Mercedes, you have a loan on a Mercedes, and the loan is 26%. Like one of our clients last week, we got him from a 26% interest down to 3% by getting his credit score up 80 points. But if you have a 26% interest or an 18% interest on your Mercedes, that's not a Mercedes, that's Mercedes payments. Can I get an amen? So not only is that good debt, Roland, and not only did wealth in this country get created through real estate. I mean, when Europe sent folks over here with titles, as you know, Roland, a governor, all it really meant was, it's like AKA, governor, AKA meant owns tens of thousands of acres. If you were a mayor, or whatever the version of a mayor was back then, changed the title, AKA I own, thousands of acres. It was all about land ownership. It was all about land ownership. And what did they bring the slaves to work on? Land, right? So that's where wealth came from in this country. And it was another misnomer. Somebody said, well, billionaires don't have debt. What are you smoking? There is no billionaire on the planet who's a billionaire without good debt. Anyway, this obviously just lit me up because I'm just so heartbroken that my people are laboring under such bad information, which means we don't participate in the two things, Roland, that create upward mobility. Here's two things that have never gone down in the history of America: real estate and the stock market. Now, somebody, Roland, will say, watching this show, no, not true. John's wrong. We had the Depression of 2009, the recession of 2009. We had this. Yes. Here's what happened. It went up and it corrected and went down. Then what happened? It went up again and corrected, and it's going to correct again, and it's going to go up again. These things, these two indexes, and education was probably the third one, Roland, have never reversed and gone the other way.
The thing that even the point that you were making about being able to write off the interest on your taxes, again, it's sort of how you look at that. I'll give you an example. When I made the decision, I'm gonna pay my house off, my home in Texas. My accountant said,
I say don't do it, by the way.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Right. The accountant told me don't do it because we're getting the deductions. And I then sat down and I said, okay, I want you to tabulate the deductions. I said, what is it? They said, oh, well, it's the interest that you're paying. I said, right. So I want you to multiply that by 20 or whatever. I said, so you want me to keep paying the mortgage and keep paying that interest?
Uh-huh.
I said, for the tax write-off, if I pay the house off, I own it outright, and the only thing I'm paying annually are the property taxes, which can also be written off.
So let me stop you. Let's be intentionally argumentative here. All right. So as brilliant as you are, and you're really brilliant, I did a whole video on the genius of your publishing library. So, but as genius as you are, let's just be argumentative here. I'm going to say respectfully, you're not right enough, because the beauty is that if you have leverage on that house, a good debt appreciates. Is debt associated with something that appreciates? Bad debt is financing jewelry. Bad debt is financing, sports tickets and financing a vacation, right? But good debt is, so if your house is appreciating and you have some debt against that house, 70 cents on the dollar, you have 30 cents against the 70 cents, but the house let's say the house doubles in value. If you own the house outright, okay, you doubled your money. But if the house doubles in value when you only have 30 cents in it, well, my God, the multiple on that is through the roof, because you have very little of your equity, actually your money at risk, right, against the debt. Everybody who has succeeded in building legitimate wealth, please, if you're watching this documentation, this almost a documentary what Roland's doing here. If you're watching this program on Roland Martin Unfiltered, write this down. You can only build wealth in your sleep. You only build wealth by compounding. That's it. It's different. It's different from making money and getting paid and getting that check. I'm so tired of people saying I'm trying to get paid. So what Roland just described was peace of mind. Okay, that's what Roland just described. I have a lot of my celebrity friends. I own this house. Okay. But that's called peace of mind, not peace of mind.
It was peace of mind, but it was also thinking ahead in that my parents live there, my sister and her daughter. So there are 3 generations of my family lives there. House is paid off. If anything happens to me, only thing has to be taken care of every year are property taxes. Okay. So the thing is, but again, that was a strategy in doing it. The problem that for me that I see, I think with so many people, is that they throw stuff out there. And also to the point, like every year when I get the property valuation, I mean, look, I've been getting phone calls for the last 2 years, text messages constantly, sell, because there's a dearth of homes out there, available homes. And so folks been trying to buy, we'll pay cash. I mean, they're throwing everything out there.
I'll buy it.
So the thing that while the conversation to me was crazy, people going back and forth, is that they were going through this whole thing of debt, and again, not understanding the notion of what is good and bad debt, and how companies every year are financing debt, how companies are, how they're shifting, how they're getting, lower interest on their debt. Because in fact, there have been some companies that have been purchased with debt. All companies. Well, right. And so the thing is, when I hear people say, have this notion that, again, all debt is bad, that's why it was crazy, because that's just simply not true. And by keep pushing it out there, you're basically doing the same thing to me. I think when it comes to the vaccine, is that you're sharing misinformation and you're not educating people on what's real and what's true.
No, it's worse than that, Roland. We are predicting a lifetime of debt and poverty, because your consumer debt is going to continue to rise. Bad credit cards and all that kind of stuff, that's going to continue to rise. But if you don't have something to offset that, which is an asset based on good debt that continues to rise, then what you're going to end up with is zero net worth, nothing to pass, no generational wealth to pass on to your family. So one lady was like, I'm going to be a renter for the rest of my life. Okay, you're going to be poor for the rest of your life. Because the only way that the average person in America builds wealth, let me rephrase that, the most popular, most credible route, factually documented, that the average American family builds wealth is through their home. It's the equity in their home. Where the equity for the start of the business come from? From the home. Where does somebody want to secure, your consumer loan from? Your equity from the home. When you pass on the glory, God bless you. If that should happen, happen. God bless your family. Then where do they get the largest increase in wealth? From the home. I have celebrity friends who brag about not having any debt on their properties, and I tell them it's just not good use of cash to have $2 million sitting in a building somewhere. It may make you feel good, but what have you taken? It's $2 million building, put a $1.5 million mortgage on it at good rates if you have a good credit score. I'm talking about 3% money, Roland. I believe in God and God alone. But if I was agnostic, I'd bow at the altar of low interest rates. Okay, I mean, if you can get 2%, 3% money, it's like somebody's giving you money. It's like free, right? And if you have good credit score, 700 or above, you can get 3% money right now. I'm in a house that has 3% money. I don't know how the bank's making any money, but it's brilliant for me. And I can tell you examples of how I took. Well, there's a condo I had in LA, and I bought it for a couple $100,000. It's on La Tijera, for those watching you from Los Angeles, 7122 La Tijera, I think is the address. I don't own it anymore, so I don't give you the address. And you can go to public records and look at this. Bought it for $200,000 and change 15 years ago, whatever. It went down in the economic crisis of 2009. All my black friends around me, sell, get rid of it. They all sold their stuff. They were afraid. They sell it, sell it, sell it. So I held on because I needed some place to live back then. And I had a renter in it. And so the renter was paying the mortgage, just enough to pay the mortgage and the property taxes. Actually, I think I had to pay a little bit of property taxes. Everybody said I was stupid. So now I owe more, Roland, than the value. I owe now the value's 100 and something, and I owe still 200,000, right? So I forget about it because it's taking care of itself, and I'm getting a little depreciation. Roland, I looked up 5 years later. I sold that condo for $750,000. Free money. And it cost me nothing to keep it because it took care. If you want to make sure you have a hedge against poverty, people watching this program, you need to do 2 in 1. Buy a home and live in it like Roland's doing and pay it off just like Roland did if you want to. And then buy 2 homes, rehab them and rent them. And I don't mean fancy properties. We need to stop buying stuff in places we don't know, with money we don't have, to impress people we have no idea about stuff that don't matter. Need to stop profiling and renting uptown and buy something downtown in the inner city in a working neighborhood near jobs, right? And buy the worst house in the best block, the worst house in the best block in your neighborhood, and buy it, rehab it, and rent it. You will never go broke. That or an engineering degree. You'll never go broke. You get your kid an engineering degree, they will never go broke. There's only 5% black engineers in this country, right? And there's more jobs looking for people than the other way around. And real estate, again, keeps going up, even in black neighborhoods. And I'm prima facie evidence of that. I own 700 homes in Atlanta and Florida, and I'm going to buy a bunch more. I'm telling every church, buy their block. Okay, I'm getting off the topic.
But the bottom line is it's about buying. Julian Malveaux, I want to go to you. You're an economist.
Hey, Julian.
The thing Julian, it just goes to is when I use that phrase, when you don't know, you don't know. It speaks to the absolute need for comprehensive financial education, literacy, and where we're walking people through step by step to begin to understand this system and how we should be better taking advantage of it.
Roland, Brother Bryant is absolutely brilliant. He's a colleague, and I appreciate him and appreciate his words. What I'd like to say about this is everything don't work for everybody. So some people are going to buy their home. They don't care about what they have access to in terms of interest rates and such because of the security. Others are going to use homeownership to leverage their wealth. Real estate was a historical foundation for Black people over the years, and we can go back and look at it. It's less so now, but back in the day, as John has said, people would buy their block, buy the house next door, do that because that was really the wealth that they were building. This is important from the perspective of the ways that we build wealth, the things we do to build wealth, and the diversity of our approach to wealth building. But I think that I missed a Twitter storm. I guess I just missed it, but I'm not on Twitter every day. So I missed a Twitter storm, but I think that what John has said is important. It's not definitive, but it is important. Buy a home, because most people, not Black people, most people build their wealth through home ownership. most people, about 70% of their wealth is around home ownership. So we are about 30% less likely to own our homes than white folks are. So that's just saying something. So John's got a great point, and I think that people should pay major attention to it. And I just appreciate being on here with him. The brother's bad.
She's bad.
I want to go to Avis. Avis, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it is unfortunate that, so many are so far removed from this concept that there was such a, huge backlash with regards to a statement that, should be quite a well-known thing. I mean, when I think about, for example, where my son is right now, I have a son who's graduate school at Johns Hopkins right now. It's all virtual with the pandemic, but, he's thinking next year if it opens up, he's looking at how can he buy a multi-family house in Baltimore so that he can live in one side of the house and then rent out to at least 2 other spaces where other renters can live. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, that is a wonderful thing to do. I would love to see us be in a place where we can start to think about how we can actually narrow that racial wealth gap, because as was mentioned, we will never get there just by working more. We will never get there just by earning more money. You have to have some assets that will actually appreciate over time so that you can build wealth. And once we begin to understand that when we get our ducks in a row, when our credit score allows us to be able to have very, very low interest rates, as was explained, there is absolutely nothing wrong with using other people's money to make money. Everybody else does it, okay? And so I'm hoping that people will take advantage of the information that they're getting here today and start to think a little bit more broadly about different ways that we could leverage our earnings and turn it into wealth with proper investments just like this.
Omekongo.
I think that this is powerful, and I feel like this entire show, we've been going back and forth with these conversations about access to information and access to whether we're talking about the vaccine, whether we're talking about voting. And now when we're talking about housing, this is like that one thing where there's just so much information out there that we can readily get. We know that historically, every time there's been an opportunity to get access to housing, we've been denied. But right now, when I'm hearing what Mr. Bryant is saying, I just wish that, I don't know, I just have a question for you, Mr. Bryant. Like, what do you feel is the best way right now to get financial literacy out to our communities? Is it schools? Is it online programs? Is it YouTube courses? What's the best way to get what you're saying in the hands of more people so there isn't that Twitter storm out there?
Yeah, we got to make smart sexy again. We've been making dumb sexy for a long time, man. We've dumbed down and celebrated it. Quincy Jones says it takes 20 years to change a culture. His birthday was yesterday, by the way. And in the last 20 years, we've made dumb sexy. Yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying, man. Speak English, speak. Like, talk to me, lead me better, right? If we go to club tonight. So the COVID approved club. We go to club tonight and we see the cute girl or the handsome guy. Hey man, you cute or you're handsome. What's your credit score? What's your business plan for your life? Are you an owner? Are you have an ownership mentality? We need to know what's in here and not just what's on here. And excuse me, I can say this on Roland Martin and Filtered. I think your assets cannot just be on your ass. We got to stop having lifestyle riches as a strategy. It's not riches. In fact, getting paid, as a young lady said, has nothing to do with building wealth. Zero. And so we got to basically, sir, we've got to get celebrities and ball players and folks for whom people pay attention to really begin to bake this in, and it's beginning to happen. And I think we need to make financial literacy the civil rights issue of this generation. We need to make it like the law, funded by Congress, K through college, free financial literacy. And I think Ms. Malvo will agree with me on this, and I think she's brilliant, by the way, long underrated, brilliant. I think we should have introduction to entrepreneurship in high school. Because if you can't get a job, then let's help folks create them, which is why Operation Hope is so passionate about 1 Million Black Business Initiative that we launched with Shopify to get all our businesses online. 96% of our businesses don't have an employee. How do you build wealth that way? I mean, how do you do anything that way? You're on a treadmill. You're on a treadmill. And we're stressed out. We're exhausted. What did Malcolm X say? We've been bamboozled. We've been tricked. We've been fooled. Here's another one. I mean, I just couldn't believe that Roland and I spent going back and forth. I think what Roland was a day and a half on Twitter.
Yeah.
With people. They were absolutely sure they were right. And they were wrong. It's just wrong. Everything that was said, with all due respect, I love you very much, is just dead wrong. And somebody has to lay it out. So we got to make this appealing and interesting. And here's the good news. People can still do it right now.
They can. Last point, John. You said earlier you had a guy who had a Mercedes with a 26% interest rate, and by raising his credit score 80 points, it went from 26% interest rate to 3%.
3.5, 3.7. I put it on Twitter. I think the exact number. Yeah, his payment dropped like a rock. Like a rock. So there's two ways to make money: make more or spend less. Do you know, Roland, that 41% of Black people have a credit score below 620? Basically half of us. So when you go to the bank and the bank turns you down for a loan, not you, because you'll get whatever you want, turn it down for a loan, we assume it's racism. Well, historically it has been. But right now, I think the gentleman said, I want hair like his, by the way. You got to show me how to do that. The gentleman said, but in 2021, my mother's credit score is 867. I think she told me 2 days ago, which means my mother's not Black, she's green, right? She can get anything she wants. So if you can get your credit score up today, so the reason that they're giving decline may not be because you're Black. It may be because your credit score stinks and the bank's not going to tell you because they don't want to be sued. Half of us are locked out of the free enterprise system. You can't get a small business loan unless you have a 700 credit score. That's another show you need to do, which is this free money coming to Black people through this $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. That's a whole deal all by itself. That's a whole show all by itself. But we will. Trust me, we will. Yeah, I'm just exercised about this, man, because I think we're living in a moment in history, like right now. But history doesn't feel historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. And I think if Dr. King was alive today, this is what he'd be obsessing with right now. And we never got the memo on money because the Freedmen's Bank, after the Civil War, after Lincoln was assassinated, it was closed. That bank was chartered to teach free slaves about money. So other than Miss Malvo and a few others, there's nobody doing this advocation. And meanwhile, the world is passing us by, Roland. There's a whole other show on difference between cash flow and wealth. Two completely different things. I get so tired of you saying, I want to get this money. I want to get paid. I can get this dollar. I could care less about getting money. Let me build wealth. It'll create cash flow.
John Hope Bryant, founder of Operation Hope. We certainly appreciate it. Where can people get more information on Operation Hope?
OperationHope.org, or download the Hope in Hand app on your phone. It's all free, by the way. There's no charge for these services. Or call 888-388-HOPE, or just talk to Ms. Malvo, because she can probably hook you up all by herself with her just some individual counseling. But we do counseling in 26 states for free.
Well, folks, you can't say you didn't have the information and no one ever told you about it. John Hope Brown, we still appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Love and light.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.